Welcome to another tool review. This time it is still going to be woodworking tools, and we're going to be reviewing this. This is essentially a portable drill press. I got it on the Banggood website. It's an ENJOYWOOD multi-angle drill jig and about 20 other words. I'm going to put it on screen now, but it is a portable drill press pretty much. This is not a paid review. I bought this with my own money because I needed something that was going to allow me to drill perpendicular holes and angled holes into the workpieces I'm doing. So that said, let's dive right into this. We'll unbox it. I'll put a second camera up so we have a second angle, and we'll assemble it and do some testing, and we'll see what it's like. So it's a pretty big box, but it is supposed to be a pretty big piece of equipment. So let's open it up, and first things first is a product accessories guide, which is quite nice. I guess it's just specs, and it has a different name here. Instead of being a multi-angle drill guide, it is a multi-angle punch, which is adjustable. And there are some very basic instructions for putting it together, which we may follow. We might just try and do without it as well, and we'll see what happens. Packaging wise, it's actually pretty good. I hope this comes out in camera, but lots of laser cut foam to make sure everything stays in place. We have some Allen keys, we have some spacers and some what look like plastic washers, which is good. Let's have a quick look here and see what's in the goodie box. We have some knurled handles. They look pretty great. Let's take out the next lump of styrofoam. Oh, okay. There's lots in here. There is whatever that is. And there's another one. I have no idea what these do, but we'll figure them out. And there are some rods. I presume that's for the little adjustment fence or the stabilizing bars. So we'll put that to one side. There's 4 of those, which is good. There is... Oh, this is heavy. There's the mechanism itself, which is great. That's spring loaded, which is always fun. And I think we're getting to the end of the box now. We are. And this is the, this is the drill chuck itself. So the chuck, if you don't know what a chuck is, it's the part that holds the drill bit you're looking to drill with. So that's going to sit under there like that. So yeah, that's pretty good. In a little plastic bag and oiled, which is nice because it prevents that from having any corrosion. Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, this is not just any chuck. It's a professional drill chuck. We'll see about that. Total cost of this, by the way, was about 60 euros. I'll double check that and I'll put it up online in a second on the video. But I think by the time I paid for shipping and everything, it was probably closer to 70-ish. I'm probably going to correct myself in video and I'll be completely wrong, but it's a cheap drill press. I was looking at alternatives made by companies like, Woodpeckers, and there were other ones on the Sauter Shop store in Germany, and they were 400 euros. So to get this for, even under 100 euros, if it's any good, that's a good price. All right, so I have lots and lots of parts on the table. It doesn't look as complicated as the instructions make it out to be. So we do have to assemble it. The first thing it says we need to do is attach these guys, but these are already fitted. So that's very strange. I don't know why the instructions are telling us that this has been, something that's disassembled and needs to be put back together. That's not the case at all. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, I think are pretty much done. We do need to put step 5 in, which is to attach the chuck. So this just appears to be threaded. Oh, that's convenient. And if I'm right, yeah, it's a reverse thread. That's to stop it from coming undone when you're drilling. So that's okay. There doesn't seem to be anything except just, putting that in by hand. It doesn't seem to have any mechanism for locking it in place and making sure it's tighter. We'll test that, of course, as we go on. Figure 7 is bizarre. It's telling us to put some screws in. Is there a screw in here at the bottom? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's open up the bag of toys anyway, first of all, and see. So the instructions are not clear. It tells you to tighten this down with screws, and it shows a vague photograph, but it doesn't tell you what the screws are or how to do it. So what I'm going to do is a process of elimination. I'm going to use up the other stuff that's on the bench first where I know that goes, and that will leave me with whatever's left to do this job. So that's pretty much all I can figure out for the time being. These little guys from earlier appear to be just extension feet. We put one out the side and we can put one out the front as far as I can make out. The diagrams again are really unclear as to any of this, but there do appear to be 2 threaded holes here and here, and 2 here and here, which I can only assume are for these bars, which are threaded as well to go in. So we'll try that first of all. Yep, that's working. And there's an indent on these, which is cool. I'm just going to see if I can show the indent on the other camera, because that's where the little spanner is going to connect to be able to turn these circular rods and lock them in. So let's see if I can pick that up. So we'll just thread in the 4 of these really by hand first of all. They go in quite a bit. And then we'll do the 2 on the other side. These appear to be more of a stability thing than anything else. And I'm not really sure I'm ever going to use these in practicality terms, but for the purposes of going through the assembly today and getting through all the parts, I'm just going to use them anyway. So I'll just give these a little tighten with the provided spanner. These are quite small little chamfers into the end of the round bar stock to let the spanner engage. So you probably need to hang on to this if you want to undo them, because a normal spanner isn't going to fit in there. And if you're using like a needle nose pliers, it's just going to mar the metal. These guys then are just little bars that slide on. And they give you more or less a fence to run against, which is nice. These are anodized aluminium like the rest of it, and they have 2 little thumb screws that you need to undo to be able to slide them in. Yep, and then once you're in, then you have a fixed fence. So if you're trying to line this up on a piece of wood, you can line this up on the left-hand side, you can line this up on the base, and then you know you're going to be drilling the same position if you were doing 5 drill jobs on 5 identical parts. So that's pretty good. Okay, these knurled handles appear to go here, so we'll just fit those on. I don't think these go straight on because it looks like they may mar the anodized aluminium. So I'm going to take those off and just see if there's any... Oh, well, there we go. So these plastic washers fit right in on top of the recess at the top of this handle. So these clearly go with the handles, and explains why the handles won't contact the rest of the mechanism and damage the aesthetic of it. So we'll take this one off again. Okay, now these aren't for holding on to. I mean, you can when you're pushing your drill down, but when you unlock them a little, they seem to allow you to engage different angle detents on the mechanism. So if you're going 90 degrees, just lock them here, and then the unit can't move at all. And then if you want to go to 45 degrees, over you go. So I'm left with a bit of a mystery. I have 2 screws, which are little machine screws, that have a collet that go over them, and the collet precisely fits so that only this tiny bit of thread is left at the end. So the 2 of those clearly have a purpose. And that means that this single screw, which is a countersunk Phillips machine screw, must be the part that locks this chuck into the mechanism. So I'm going to try and fit that now. I'm just going to grab a screwdriver that works for this. The process of elimination worked. That screw was exactly what needed to go in and hold this chuck in place, and because it's a reverse threaded screw, it means it won't come out when we're drilling clockwise into a piece of material. It's going to stay there. We are left with these two bizarre little guys that, you know, screw into the bottom, but as far as I can make out, we can put these in as a makeshift fence. So if we want this to ride along a piece of material, we can screw these in. I'm just going to change the angle here a little bit so people can see what I'm doing. We can put them in at the bottom. And I guess we can use those as some sort of set pins if we're setting this up on a regular piece of work that we want to drill time and time again. But for everyday work, I don't think I'm going to be using those. I don't even think I'll be using these. So I'll be putting these away into storage and keeping them for when I do need them. So we'll take them back out for now. This is the configuration I'm probably going to run it in on a daily basis. I'm not going to use the extended fences. I'm just going to have the drill base on my piece of work, steady it with one of the handles, and then drill down. We're going to test it for accuracy. I want to just test it at probably the most common angles I'm going to drill with, which is 90 degrees and 45 degrees. So 90 degrees straight down. And we're going to use a 5mm drill bit, which is a wood drill bit. We're going to put it into the chuck. We're going to connect the drill onto it, and then I'm going to drill into some pine just to get an idea, because pine is soft. If it's going to do any damage, it's going to do it to a softwood. Because if it's out of spec, it's easier to damage a softwood than a hardwood. So let's get it chucked up anyway for a start. Well, the first learning from that is that the chuck mechanism is awful. It feels like there's sand in there and it's grinding. That's not a particularly well-made chuck, but it doesn't really matter that much if these are just jobs we do temporarily. Now we need to connect the drill to the top of the chuck again here. One observation here is that this is round. That's really crappy for getting the drill locked onto. If this was a hex shaft, it would be a lot easier for the drill to bite into it. But we'll make it work. Okay. So I'm just giving it a bit of a wiggle, and there is some wiggle room. So we'll tighten everything up first of all. And there's still a lot of motion on that bearing. So I'm just going to undo the drill for a second. And I notice that there's 4 little Allen bolts here, and we'll see if we can tighten that up and maybe get rid of some of that flex, because that flex is no good for what we want to do. Let's test it, because it may not be that much of an issue when you're actually using the drill. So let's get the drill connected back up to it, and we're going to take this piece of pine here and just try and come down and put a hole into the middle of it. So here's the same drill bit from another set. We're just going to pop it in, and then I'm going to take my little square and offer it up. And that is pretty damn good. I'm really happy with that. Great. Now my big concern about using this is the base. So it is just an aluminium base, and aluminium is a soft metal, and I'm just concerned if I'm using this on an electric guitar, is it going to mar the wood as I'm moving it around? So in order to test that, I've brought over some walnut. And I'm just going to try moving it about and see what it does to the finish. And it's done nothing to the finish, which is great. Okay, so that's pretty good. This walnut has a nasty little wood hole here at the top. So I'm just going to see if we can pop, because this is a more stable piece of wood. I'll see if we can pop a 45-degree hole into the corner here, and then check the angle and see if it's any good. So we'll just try that here at the corner. we'll take the spare drill bit and pop it in. And we'll just take the square. That's about as good as it gets. And that brings us to the end of the review. So off camera, I have checked the price and I was right. It was 59 euros delivered to the door. I'm in Europe. It came from a warehouse in the Netherlands, as far as I can remember. So there was no import duties or taxes. If you are in the UK, you may have to pay a little extra. If you're in the US, I'm sure it will come through a distribution center there and it'll be less tax heavy. That said, it's not a bad bit of equipment. There are bits of it I will never use, like those additional fences. There are bits of it I will never use, like the little grub screws that go down the bottom here as well. But for what I want it to do, for putting in perpendicular holes into the middle of a guitar, or any other piece of wood where my drill press, which I know is 90 degrees, won't fit, this is going to work. So value for money, I think 10 out of 10. There are some little issues, like some areas of the finish are a little bit marred and a little bit scratched. But if you have this in your workshop and you're using it every day, that's going to accumulate anyway. You're going to be putting new dents and new scratches into it. But for 59 euros versus the competition at 400 euros, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Things I think could be better. As I mentioned earlier, this round little pin here at the top that the drill connects to would be so much better if that was a hex shaft. Maybe if I've time someday, I'll sit down with a file and just put in little shafts that I can grip onto. And the deviation here a little bit on the shaft as it's going down, I think that could be a lot better. There are grub screws I'm going to play with a little bit more, but I think that should be better out of the box. I don't think that's something people should have to play with. So in terms of usability, you know, yeah, I'm going to knock a point or two off for that, but what a great bit of equipment. So get yourselves over to banggood.com if you want them. My real clever tip for getting one of these at a great deal is go and watch a review video from somebody else, because some of the bigger YouTube channels have deals with Banggood where they have affiliate links and you get a few euros off. I think Hooked on Wood, Dennis's channel, is probably one of the best, and if you go watch his video, I think he has a discount code there for it anyway. But if you're a new customer to Banggood, they generally give you a pretty hefty discount for your first order, which is what I did with this anyway. I think I got off like 5 euros off the price of it. So yeah, go get one. They're great. And even just to have it as a piece of, you know, jewelry in your workshop, it looks pretty cool too. So thanks for watching. That was another tool review video. If you make woodworking tools and you want me to review them, please just drop it in the comments below and we can start a conversation. All of my tool reviews are pretty unbiased. If I find a fault, I'm going to tell people about them, but I'll engage with the manufacturer first just to make sure it's not a mistake on my part. So yeah, if you've got something you want reviewed, please just get in touch. But for now, this little guy, portable drill press, or whatever the hell they call it on the Banggood website, yeah, I think it's pretty great. Go and get yourself one, and I'll see you in the next video.